Welcome to the second session of Hebrew alphabet, Aleph Tav. Getting to grips with the meaning of the Hebrew words, letter by letter. Okay, last week we spoke about and learned some of the letters, and we spoke about how a word, when we break it down and go letter by letter, we get the understanding, the deeper understanding, the bigger understanding of the word. So let's take a look at a word to see, when we're looking at the interpretation of it, what happens when we look at slightly different groupings of it. So the word Aleph, as we know, the first strong or God, Hey, which is reveal or breath, and Beit, which is house, spelling Ahava, meaning love, we can interpret as revealing, or the revealing of God's, or we read it as Father's house. So the revealing of God's house, or his heart. So that's how we could interpret what love means. It's the revealing of Abba Father's heart for us, of his house. And when we look, and we're not going to go into that now, but when we look at actually the heart and how it is made up literally, physically, we can see the pattern of his tabernacle. Okay, you remember the very first word we did was Father, Abba, or Av, yeah? So if we look within the word of Ahava, and we take the two letters, Aleph and Beit, and look at Father, and have Hey as a separate one, breath, we could also look at that word Ahava and interpret it as Father's breath. So his love for us is not only a revealing of his house or his heart for us, it's also his very breath in us. Okay? If we look at it in terms of, again, Aleph being God, Hey being behold or watches over, and Beit being the house or the family, we could see it as God beholds or watches over our house or family. So that's what his love is. So can you see that once we start digging with these letters and looking at the interpretations of the word, not each letter has different facets, but each word then has multiple facets. And we can start building a picture of what a word like love means. It's not just a simple, and I know we've got different Greek words for it and everything, but, and it's not a simple word by any stretch of the imagination. But for me, it just excites me beyond measure when I start seeing it so practically in the letters and so tangibly. It's not philosophical and let's have a discussion. Here they are, letter by letter. His breath, his heart, his house, our house that he's watching over, and a lot of revealing. So if it's a lot of revealing, let's take note of that. Because revealing is taking, like an onion, peeling an onion layer by layer. And is that not what love is? As you walk a relationship, it's peeling it layer by layer, or revealing layer by layer, until you get really into the innermost parts and the intimacy with him. Okay, so that was the one thing I wanted to show, was within each word, how we can interpret it or translate it in different ways. Okay, to get the deeper meaning. The other thing that I wanted to point out was we spoke about, with the same letters, different words can be drawn out of it. And that's because of the vowels that are put in. So, for example, and you may remember the teaching that we had earlier in the year, chata, when we put A's underneath the chet, the tet, and the aleph, and it becomes chata, that is the word for offense. But if we have E's, and those are just two different ways of writing an E in Hebrew, C-H-E-T-E, chete, the word is sin. And again, one of the concepts within the language is any word you try and find out and pull down to the roots, the root letters, which generally are. There are very few with two, but they generally are 3 letters. And there's a lot around the construct of that you, with the verb, you're coming down to the root in order to build up in various tenses. But in the nouns like this, when we see roots of a word, or in this case, it's actually the entire word, 3 letters. When we have 2 words using or based on that same root, they will have a similar root, or the root itself will be the same, and they will have similar meanings. And so for that reason, we can interpret that offense and sin have the same root. Okay? So when we're looking at each of the letters, you remember chet we did was separate, or one of the meanings for it, if you look on your sheets, is separate. The tet is snake, and the aleph is God. So we can interpret that as when we take offense or sin, we separate ourselves from God by the snake. Okay? We all got that one? So literally, sin or offense is us separating ourselves from God because of the snake. Now, what is that snake? Obviously, in the case of offense, it's offense. But it's exactly the same in sin, isn't it? That's what we've done. Something that we've done, that we have sinned in, separates us from God. Just an interesting note on it, they do also talk about, because there is no vowel on the aleph, remember aleph is a silent letter unless it has a vowel there. When we have offense or we sin, we talk about it appears that God, the aleph part, God, is silent. And again, isn't that what happens when we have sinned? We think God is silent. Is God silent? God's the same. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. He never stops. So if he's talking, he's talking. If he's silent, he's silent. But it's not because we've sinned that he's silent. We don't hear him because we have a snake between us. And this curling, writhing, whatever it is not allowing us to hear. But we need to be doing something to deal with that in order to open the communication again. Okay, so that was just to explain this one is the vowels and the difference it makes, but when we have the same root, it's the same essential concept, okay, within the words. And with the ahava, it was to show you the different facets, but with the same letters that we can interpret. Okay, so we're going to carry on with the letters that we were learning. And we got as far as Yud. Yes? Can we say them together up until Yud? Either with your cheat sheets or by memory or on the board. 1, 2, 3. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf. Okay. Kaf, is the palm of the hand, okay? And it's also interpreted as open, as a cover. So it's his hand underneath the open hand, but also it could be seen as a cover to allow, or the anointing. And it's got a ka sound, or if it's the soft one, remember when we had bet and vet, ba and va, sort of a softer sound va. If it had the dot, it was a ba. If it had no dot, it was a va. So similarly here, we've got kaf with a dot, so it's a harsher sound, and khaf. Kaf and khaf, okay, as a softer sound. Now this one is what they call a sofit. So we have a few letters in the Hebrew language that when they are at the end of the word, they just change shape slightly, okay? Nothing to get scared of. They just tend to, as in this case, make their tail longer. So let's do some cuffs. It literally is starting, moving to the right, down, and back across. Yes? And when they have the dots in, it's ka. And when they don't, it's cha. Okay? And when we have it as a sofit, just imagine this as the bottom of the line. We started in the same way, from left to right, and instead of stopping there, we go right down through the line. Okay? Another one that looks like a tent peg, but it's not arched at the top. It's straight across and straight down. Okay? So you want to write a few of those. Happy with that? Let's just practice it a bit. We'll do ka, 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 ka. Ha, 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 ha. Happy? Got that one. All right, moving swiftly on. Let's do the next one is lamet. Lamet. Meaning staff, authority, shepherd, or teacher. And like it sounds, lamet, la, like an L. La, 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 la. Okay, and to write it, you can write it like I do, like a lightning bolt. And that just impresses the message of the level of authority that it has. Love the letter. Lamet. Okay? Let's practice. La, 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 la. La for lamet. La for lamet. Okay. And then mem. Mem. Mem meaning waters or heaven or revelation or chaos. Like the M sound. Mem. Ma, 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 ma. And it looks like, and if you started in the bottom left, it's like a triangle going up, but you don't quite meet in the bottom there, and it's got a little tail on the left-hand side of the triangle. Okay? And it also has a sofit form. And the sofit form is a line straight along the top and then a box below, but you leave an overhang on the left. Okay? And so that's the form that would come at the end of a word, what they call a sofit. Oh, these are getting really thin ones. They've been on diet. Mem, 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 mem. Okay, let's practice with our song. And we'll see how far we get with our Aleph Tav up until Mem. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Hey, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Tav. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Tav. Okay, is it getting easier? Yeah? And it's coming. Great. That's what we need to hear, step by step. Letter by letter, we'll get there. Right. Nun. What a wonderful letter. Nun. Nun. Life or growth. And you can see on your sheets there, it's the fish. Nun. Also has a suffit form. So when we're drawing it, it also has a little, well, I do a little curve at the top and then straight down and across the bottom. Nun. Nun, 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 nun. 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 Okay. And the suffit form, again, you go a curve at the top and then you go straight through the bottom of the line. Just like the cuff, yeah? But this is straight and this is curved. Yeah? Everybody happy? Nun suffit. Nun suffit. Nun, 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 nun. Okay. Done a bit of practicing there. Happy? Nun. What comes after nun? Has anybody cheated and gone ahead? Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? Samech. Isn't this an interesting one? Most of the other shapes we recognize somewhat, yeah? Samech is quite a different letter. We certainly don't have anything like that in English. Okay, Samech. Support, uphold, sustain, establish, or turn. Samech. Samech. So it's one of the S sounds. There are a few letters, there are a few sounds in Hebrew that can be more than one letter. Samech. We'll point out the other one just now. So Samech is a line straight across and then almost like a half circle hanging off the end like a flag, a downward flag. Samech. 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 Thank you. That's how I will now remember it in future, as a little heart. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Ayin. Ayin. Another, not very unusual, because it does look a little bit like one of our letters, like a Y, but it should be written differently to our Y. Okay, ayin. To see, it actually is the eye, right? On your pictures, it's the picture of an eye. So it is the letter to see. Now, obviously, the way we understand that is not just to see. It's to see spiritually as well, at a deeper level. So to see, to the eye, or to experience, to know, to have understanding. And then, as we see there, to have spiritual insight. Ayin. Now, ayin is like Aleph. It is a silent letter. Yeah? So the sound that you would read it depends on the vowel below. Otherwise, it is a silent letter or a placeholder, if you want to think about it as that. Okay, so ayin does look very much like a Y, but the left-hand side should be lower than a Y, really. Ayin, ayin, ayin. Shall we practice that a bit? Just to ayin, 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 ayin. Okay. Let's sing it once. See whether we've got that, and just hear the pronunciation as well. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yot, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Tav. Okay. You reckon you've got all of those letters? Okay, no help except your cheat sheets and your neighbor. I think you can do 50-50 with your neighbor, or I don't know if your phones are working, you can call. Okay, let's see whether we can decipher this, yes? Sorry? Well, we either work here or we get homework. Rather work here where we get help. All right, let's go. Can you all see? Okay, so what is the first letter here? Hey. So hey is the letter for, or it is the letter we're going to have for the sound H. Okay, next letter. Can you see that there is a dot on top there? Okay, but what's the letter? No, it hasn't got a tail along it. It's just a straight down. It's one we did last week. Vav. Okay, now Vav is an interesting letter because it can either be a Vav, or what it really does is it has a vowel denoting either on top or next to it, like that. And this becomes an O, and this becomes a U. Okay, so I've already helped you there 50-50 because I've given you two letters. So that's an O and that's a U. Okay, are we happy with that? Okay, because those are the, when they write, we've got to know that that is a vav and it's most probably an O or a U in a word. Okay, you don't always get the dots on there, like we don't get the vowels very often at all. Okay, what's this letter here? Dalet. So what's that word? Can we read it? Ho-do. I'm just going to write it in a way that our brains will be able to read it quickly. Okay, ho-do. Well done. All right, let's go. What's this letter? Lamed. Yeah, that's one of the signs for an A. Yes. And then? Dalet. Vav, but it's got a dot on the top, so it becomes an O. Nun. And that is an A below it. Okay, so we're going to put the A in as well. A yud. So a yud in this case is a Y, but we're going to read it as an I. Yeah, because we can sometimes pronounce it as an I. So what have we got there? La Adonai. Okay, Hodu, and we say it and we sing it as Ladonai. And when the lamet is before a word, it's part of that word. So you read it as part of it. But we must realize that it is La Adonai. Okay? Hodu La Adonai. What's this one? First one we learned today, new one. Kaf, which is K. Okay? Now, when we've got the Yud, and that's what it really should have been here, but Biblical Hebrew has a few other, its own rules. Biblical Hebrew has some of its own rules. Okay, just learn it like that. Then you'll understand that you'll have some of what we call exceptions. Okay, but when the Yud is like that and it's got a dot underneath the letter prior to it, it becomes an I. So that Yud, which is normally a Y, becomes an I when it's like that. So we'll write it as Ki. Yeah?
So, yes, the Yud changes depending on what's underneath the letter before.
The Yud, yes. So the Yud is normally a Y, but if it's got a dot before, then it becomes an I. Yeah. So that is really the vowel I. When you see that, that is the I. And this is one of the A's. There's another way of writing an A, and there's a third way of writing an A. So generally, all the ones with lines are A's. They just have a different way of pronunciation A. But those are all A's, yes? La Dona. La Adonai. We should have actually had an A in here. L-A. Sorry. L-A. A. D-O-N-A-I. Yes, everybody happy with that? So it should have actually been La Adonai. That's a U, that's an O, and you saw when we did Chete, the E's, there were also different E's, and E's generally are lots of dots below. Okay, let's moving swiftly on. Here we have a Tet and a O, a Bet, a vet, because it hasn't got a dot. So it is a bet, but it hasn't got a dot, so it becomes the softer sound. So it's a V or a Va. So that is Tov, keep Tov. So you know where we're going. All right, don't cheat and just sing it and tell me the words. We are still going to decipher letter by letter. Oh no, you can cheat with those. I'm just saying, just singing the song. Okay, can you recognize that whole word now?
Yes,
Another key, right. Yes? Yes? And ayin, and ayin is silent unless it has a vowel. Have we got a vowel underneath here? No, there's nothing underneath the ayin. Okay? So it's a silent. So we've got lamek with an E, le. So what's this letter? O. La. A. Mem sufit, because it's at the end, right? So there we get ki, lay, and very often when you have a silent letter, you will see that they'll put in an apostrophe just to show you a break in the word. But they still read it as one word. Lay, u, lam. Ki, lay, ulam. Okay? Letter, what letter is that? Chet, a chet, so C-H, A. This is that one with the hanging. Is your little harp? Sameh, Dalet, D, O. So that gives us chas do. So, who can read that? Yeah, no, we've got to start from the top. Do, Tov. Isn't that fantastic? So letter by letter, we're going to get there. Okay. We'll give Marion a break. We'll sing this all by ourselves. This one, though. Yeah? We happy with this one? Just in case, here it is in Hebrew. With the transliteration and the English. Okay, so we'll do the Hebrew. Hi. See. Okay. So we'll sing it in Hebrew and in English. 1, 2, 3. Hodul Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chesdo. Hodul Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chesdo. Hodu, l'Adonai ki tov. Hodu, l'Adonai ki tov. Give thanks to the Lord, He is good. His mercies endure forever. Give thanks to the Lord, He is good. His mercies endure forever. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Give thanks to the Lord, He is good. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Give thanks to the Lord, He is good. Amen. Well done. So your first homework paragraph deciphered. Well done. All right. Let's get through the rest of them then. After iron comes pay. What do we know about pay? The mouth, words, speak, and to open. As we heard the other day, it's the number 80. Okay, so each letter also has a number. You may have been following them. This one is the number 80. And it also has both a harsh sound, pay, with the dot in it. Yes, for sort of P. And the soft sound, fay, sort of like F. And it has a suffit, okay, which also goes through the bottom of the line. So this one is a little bit of a pattern to it, like a maze. So we start in the middle and we go in square fashion all the way around and down and back across the bottom. Okay? Almost like a number 9 with a tail on the bottom. And the one...
Picture of the face with the mouth.
And the picture of the face with the mouth. Yes. Square face. Not square pants, square face. And with a dot, it is pay. With the dot, it's pay. Pay. Without the dot, it is fay. Woo! Got to practice some of these. Okay. And when we have the sofit form, we go below the line and it just goes straight down. Okay? Are we going to practice? Pay, 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 pay. Pay, 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 pay. All right. Last one on this sheet is pay, study. Study. Lovely, very different and unusual shape. Study. Study means to catch, desire, need, or righteousness, or righteous. Okay, sadi, righteous, sadiq, sadiq. And it's got a tsa sound, tz for us. Tsa, tz, tsa, 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 tsa. And let's show that it's like a backward Y for us, with a tail to the left. Sadi, can we practice that one? Sadi, 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 sadi. Okay, and that one too has a sofit form, and again, the tail just goes through the bottom line. Sadi, 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 sadi. Okay. Don't worry, we know the person to fix it. The tzadi is a hook. So when you get hooked, you see, that's why we call it catch. So we'll talk about tzadi when you get the fish hook. Yeah? What does the word say? About the fish being hooked in the mouth and being drawn and pulled. In the scriptures, it's often the hook in the mouth being pulled towards sin, towards the enemy, towards the wrong things in life. Okay. Next one is kof. Kof is behind, last, least, and it's got a Q or K sound. Kof, kof, kof. Okay? And it looks a bit like our P, but it doesn't actually connect. Kof, kof, kof. Kof, kof, kof. Kof, kof. 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 Okay, you happy with that? You're writing it? Okay, we're just going to move on here with Reish. Reish is head. Head, wisdom, and can be used to donate Jesus. When we talk about the head, like the head of the church, Jesus, as opposed to, or just remember that when we spoke about Aleph, Aleph can mean God. Okay? If we were talking about Jesus, the chances are it'll be shown as Reish. Or when we see it in a word, when we see Reish, we're talking about Jesus as opposed to Aleph, where we would talk about God. So it's a person, man, and the highest. And it looks like a backward R. It sounds like an R. It's a very simple letter. So we literally, but it's like a square R. Yes? Resh. 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 R, r, r. Okay. Another lovely letter. Very different shape. Is the sheen. Sheen. Okay? Sheen is teeth or consuming fire to destroy or El Shaddai. Yeah? The consuming fire part of God. And depending on where the dot is on top of the sheen, it is either a sheen with a sh, sh sound, or a sin with a s sound. Okay, so if the dot's on this side, then it is called a sin, and it just has an S sound. If it's on the other side, on the right side, it's called sheen, and it has a sh sound. So you remember when I said there's another letter that has an S sound? So samech is S, and this is also S. Okay, and we draw that literally by doing down, across, and up, and a diagonal line in between. And the dot is either on that side for a shin or on the left side for a sin. Okay? On the right side for a shin, sh, and on the left side for a sin, s. Sh. S. Okay. Who's got the last one? Tav. Tav, 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 tav. We've spoken about Aleph Tav quite a few times. We should know that the last one is Tav. Tav, meaning? I should have asked you what it means without looking, because we've had it before. Cross, covenant, or seal. Okay? So it's another T sound. There's another T sound. Do you remember it? Tet. So that is a T, and that is also a T. Okay. But Tav looks very much like Chet, except it's got a little tail on the left-hand side. So as you come down, you go off to the left. Tav, 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 tav. Ta, 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 ta. Tav, 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 tav. All right, okay, let's sing it. Let's do it big and bold and loud, because this is the finale of our singing exposition of Aleph Tav. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Chayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Tav. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Chayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Tav. Well done. You made it! Aleph Tav, Aleph Tav, Aleph Tav. Okay, well, we can't leave it at just Aleph Tav, because Aleph Tav, do you remember we had the word when we did Bereshit, week before last, Genesis 1:1, it appears twice within the first verse of the word. Aleph Tav, literally Aleph Tav, et. And as you can see, we have no English translation for it. So what does this word mean? Well, we can figure it out because we know the letters. So Aleph is leader, first, strong, God. And Tav is covenant, mark, sign, or cross. So we could read it as, when Yeshua said, I am the first and the last, the beginning and the end, in other words, all of it, yes, the beginning to the end is perhaps a better way of reading it. It's because He was and is the Word made flesh. When he said, the scriptures speak of me, God's covenant, he fulfilled and fulfills God's covenant as he continues to speak through the Word forever, because he is the living scroll, the Aleph Tav. That's what the Aleph Tav is the living scroll, God's covenant. So isn't it amazing what you can get out of 2 letters, the Aleph Tav? And it's not only the Aleph Tav. Let's take a look at what happens if we put a mem in the middle. Then it becomes the word for truth, emet. So again, we've got Tav is the covenant, but the Aleph and the mem, can you remember from last week, is mother. Okay? So we've got covenant and mother. So truth we can understand as the mother of the covenant. What nurtures? Remember, the mother was the life-giving waters or the nurturing. So truth is what nurtures the covenant. So when we walk with Father in covenant, the truth is what brings us in and helps us to nurture that relationship. And what is the truth? The truth is His Word. Is Him. Is Yeshua Himself. So again, once we start doing this, can you see how literally not only the letters, but the words themselves and the concepts come together, that it is truly a faith that is so enmeshed when we are in relationship with Father God Almighty. There is no other space except for Aleph Tav and truth. And so when we look at it, we've got the Aleph and the Tav and the Mem, which can be seen as the middle letter or halfway through, the halfway stop in a way, yes? So we could read it as truth is from the beginning, Aleph, to the end, Tav, and everything in the middle. That's his language. Thank you, Abba. Aleph Tav. Goodbye.